Welcome to Shonia Studio. In this playlist you can watch crime stories from all over the world, where apart from gaining knowledge about crime stories in other parts of the world, it can also provide knowledge about, for example, the culture and habits of the people in that country. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel if you like our video. Thank you. There is a saying that says love in the air. It's everywhere. Broken love, look again. Chase your love anywhere, you'll find it. But it's not just a matter of being captured, because love is everywhere. Cats passing by are immediately picked up. The important thing is to love each other. No. It is not like that. We are humans, not animals, so we are still sane. But there are also humans who have wild desires like animals. Like the case I want to discuss this time. Wildly defeating animals, even to tragic ends. Before we continue, support this channel by clicking the subscribe button, and also turning on the notification. So that next time, for example, if I upload the latest video about horror crime mysteries and conspiracies, you will be the first to know. He is Katie Pladl. Lives in North Carolina, America, aged 20 in 1995, lives alone with his mother because his parents have been separated since childhood, because his father really likes torturing his mother. Katie is a dashing man and is loved by many girls his age. But he preferred to tease a high school girl named Alisa Garcia, 15 years old. In 1995, Alisa was of Mexican descent, and knew Katie from chatting on MIRC in the past. There they met, fell in love and then they started dating. Even though Alisa's parents don't agree, they say, because Katie is unemployed, and Alisa is still in the first year of high school, and is she still underage? But what can they say? They ended up dating secretly. Because they often dated quietly, without sound, without vibration, Alisa became pregnant in 1997. Like it or not, Alisa's parents made Katie take responsibility. Then they got married. Then Alisa gave birth to a baby girl on the 14th of January 1998. And she was named Denise Pladl. But at that time, Katie was working odd jobs, as was Alisa, who was still unstable and at the age of 18 had become a mother. It could be said that they often fight, especially as Katie is a man who is very abusive, likes to play rough and shout and apparently doesn't like small children. I haven't seen them yet. Just ready to be a parent. Both financially and mentally. This Katie sometimes likes to hit Alisa, spit at Alisa, and also kick, not only at Alisa but at their baby who is only a few months old. Katie almost never wanted to hold little Dennis. If Dennis is crying, Katie will get really angry, pinch him as hard as he can until he bruises. He also said that she was pushed off the sofa by Katie's foot, until little Dennis fell to the floor. Alisa even said that Dennis was crying in the middle of the night, so he put her in the refrigerator. Very cruel. It is said that at that time both of Alisa's parents died due to illness. Finally, Alisa and Katie decided to hand over baby Denise to an orphanage. Because they, honestly, are not ready to have children. Alisa also thought, wow, my child could die and then be tortured all the time. Until finally it was discovered that Dennis had been adopted by another family, namely the Anthony Fusco and Kelly Fusco. It turns out that the couple then changed Denise's name to Katie Fusco. And Katie Fusco lives comfortably and happily with her new parents. It's said to be quite far outside the city, namely in Dutchess County, New York. Then, for about 9 years of living alone together, Alisa and Katie finally had a child in 2007. So their second child. Because now they are said to be more ready to become parents. Alyssa is already 27, and Stephen is already 42. In fact, a third child was born in 2012. For security reasons we will not mention the names of the second and third children. In July 2016, Denise's baby, who had been entrusted to her care, had grown older. I'm studying digital advertising. She is 18 years old and she is said to be getting prettier. Her current name is Katie Fusco. Then her adoptive parents, namely Anthony and Kiri Fusco, began to be honest with Katie that she was an adopted child. Even told the real names of Kathy's biological parents. This made Katie immediately want to know who her biological parents were, and she started investigating the whereabouts of her biological parents via the internet. Then she met on Facebook and it turned out that her younger siblings had been deceived and had grown up too. Alyssa, the birth mother, was very happy to be able to talk to Katie. And Kathy said she asked permission from her adoptive parents to meet her biological parents. So Anthony and Kelly are really good people. They gave Katie permission to meet her biological parents. And now it is said to be in the city of Henrico, Virginia. Even her adoptive parents would actually be willing if, for example, Katie returned to her biological parents' house. Because in the past, Alyssa and Stephen admitted that they were not ready to raise children. Apart from economic problems, they also lacked mental health. In September 2016, Katie leaving for Virginia and Kathy met her biological parents for the first time. They were very happy and filled with tears. Until finally Katie stayed overnight at their house. Even though Katie has become someone else's child. She used the family name Fusco, not Pladl. But they were happy and felt like they had chemistry together. Alyssa and Stephen kept hugging Katie because they missed her. Even at night, in fact her father, Stephen, chose to sleep next to Katie in his room. While apologizing that they had previously abandoned Katie until she was adopted by another family. Stephen now sees that his daughter, who used to be often tortured by him, has become a very beautiful 18-year-old woman who is getting older and more mature. Finally, it was said that Katie often goes back and forth. Her stay was moved around, at the house of the Fusco family, his adoptive parents, for 4 days, at the house of her biological family, Pladl, for 3 days. It turns out that without the knowledge of her biological mother, between Katie Fusco and her biological father Stephen, a hidden sexual relationship had begun to take place. Every time Katie stays there, she and her biological father often have sexual relations. And Alyssa, her biological mother, doesn't know. Shonia Studio is a channel of crime stories from around the world. Please you like and subscribe this channel if you like our criminal stories. Thank you. So it can be said that Stephen still likes to hit and is also rude to Alyssa. Until one day in November 2016, Alyssa filed for divorce from Stephen Pladl. It turns out that Stephen doesn't care and would be really happy if, for example, they divorced. After separating, Katie still often came to the house of her biological mother, Alyssa, and occasionally met her biological father, Stephen, but outside, she sometimes met him at the hotel or at the inn. It seems that Katie's relationship with her biological father became increasingly distant, until then Katie became pregnant, and began to rarely see her biological mother. Katie also told her adoptive mother that she was pregnant. And they then said that Stephen had to be responsible. Until then they planned to get married, because as they said, her stomachs were getting bigger. This is what they apparently tried to hide from Alisa, Katie's biological mother. Because in America inbreeding is against the law. Alisa was afraid to report it to the police. Meanwhile, they said they had succeeded in registering Stephen Pladl's marriage to Katie Fusco. Because according to the documents, Katie has been legally adopted since she was adopted by Anthony and Kelly Fusco. So they can get married without anyone knowing that they are biological father and daughter. They got married on 20 July 2017 when Katie's pregnancy was getting bigger, already 7 months old. Even to cover the age difference, Stephen shaved off his beard so he looked just the same age, without inviting Katie's biological mother, who was Stephen's ex-wife, namely Alisa. In another place, Alisa Pladl's biological mother, one day was cleaning up her second child's room, reading the diary of her 11-year-old child. The second child wrote that he had been a witness to the illicit relationship between his father and his sister Katie, almost every night in Katie's room. But he said he was afraid to speak, because his father was fierce. This further convinced Alisa that her hunch all along was true, that Katie was pregnant with Stephen's child. Then Alisa asked her second child about the truth of the forbidden story. Until then they reported it to the police. Shonia Studio is a channel of crime stories from around the world. Please you like and subscribe this channel if you like our criminal stories. Thank you. Then it was said that on the 1st of September, 2017, Katie gave birth to a boy whose band name was Bennett Pladl. Then they lived happily together. However, this happiness did not last long. After approximately 2 months of investigations here and there, the police in the city of Henrico, Virginia arrested Stephen Pladl and Katie Fusco on charges of incest and adultery. This sentence can be up to 5 years in prison. However, because of this, Stefan's mother and Katie's adoptive parents paid bail. They were both eventually released on parole. So the two of them were said to have to separate, because their marriage certificate was considered null and void. And if they still insist together they can be jailed, without any further guarantees later. Then between Stephen and Katie, they weren't allowed to meet or chat. So their distance is at least 1 kilometer. And custody of Bennett Pladl then fell into the hands of Stephen Pladl. In this case Stephen's mother was the one who would care for him. Of course, this resulted in Katie finally being taken home by her adoptive parents back to New York. While Stephen returns to his mother's house in North Carolina. Then Katie asked for a divorce and completely broke off her relationship with Stephen, even though it shouldn't have been a divorce because the state had cancelled their marriage certificate. So yesterday's marriage was considered invalid. Stephen said he was under a lot of stress. He really loves Katie and doesn't want to end the relationship. But Katie seems very determined to forget Stephen, her biological father and husband. Every day Stefan calls SMS, WhatsApp, and Kathy never pays any attention to it. Stephen said he didn't want Kathy to be owned by another man until one day. Until one day on the 12th of April 2018 when Stephen's mother was out holding his son Bennett Pladl, who was still 7 months old, then strangled the baby Bennett to death. After death, he was wrapped in a baby blanket, then the body was kept in a large cupboard, tucked between folded clothes. Because he was stressed and really missed Kathy, That evening Stephen took his car from North Carolina to New York. When he arrived there, he watched for several hours, not far from Katie's parents' house, while it said he was carrying a rifle. Suddenly he saw Anthony, her adoptive father, coming out in a car. And it turned out that Katie was also beside her father, in the car. Then Stephen followed their car from behind, arriving at the rather quiet kilometer 55 Wingdale route. Stephen suddenly stopped in front of Anthony's car, and Anthony's car was forced to stop too. Then Stephen got out of the car, took a rifle and shot Anthony, then shot Kathy. And it is said that they both died instantly. After he was sure they were both dead, Stephen fired the gun at his mouth. Stephen died instantly in the same place. Until the next morning a passing motorist saw their bodies, and called the police on 911. And the police then reported it to their respective families. Alice's biological mother is actually sad, yes, but she has also been quite depressed all this time, because of the betrayal by her husband and biological child. That's why she was sincere when she was told the news of their deaths. Who do you think is at fault here? Why could this tragic story happen just because of incestuous love? Are Katie's adoptive parents and Stefan's biological mother to blame? Because she approved of their previous marriage. Was Kathy's biological mother, Alisa, also wrong for letting Stephen and Katie sleep together from the start? Or if you have other additions, please comment below. If you like this video, don't forget to click the like and share buttons. Comments as well as criticism and suggestions along with ideas for the next video. But constructive criticism is not bullying. For those who are stopping by for the first time or often stop by but haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the subscribe button first and turn on the notifications, so that next time, for example, if I upload a new video, you will be the first to know. Don't forget to watch all my other videos. Stay healthy, thank you.